Have you ever felt like you're walking on eggshells around someone, carefully choosing your words, second-guessing your every move, just to avoid another emotional explosion? If that sounds familiar, this video might hit closer to home than you expect, because today, we're diving deep into one of the most manipulative psychological dynamics out there, the world of narcissism, and more importantly, how you can finally break free from its grip. Narcissists don't just want admiration, they crave control, but not the obvious kind, not the kind you see in a boss yelling orders. This is subtle, psychological control, the kind that makes you doubt yourself, question your worth, and slowly hand over your power without even realizing it. They study your emotions, your weaknesses, your triggers, and once they find them, they use them to twist, to guilt trip, to dominate. Narcissists are like master illusionists. They don't always raise their voice. Sometimes, they just distort reality. You try to explain how you feel, but they flip it. Suddenly, you're the problem. You're too sensitive. And so, you shrink, you stay silent, you surrender, just to keep the peace. But here's the truth, as long as they can provoke a reaction from you, anger, tears, frustration, they still win, because your emotions are their fuel. It tells them, I still have power over you. But here's what narcissists don't want you to know: the most powerful thing you can do is not react. Let that sink in, because the moment you stop dancing to their emotional tune, the entire illusion begins to collapse. Think of it like this: if the puppet doesn't move, the puppeteer loses the show. In this video, we'll explore how to build that unshakable calm. We'll draw from psychology and Stoic philosophy to help you detach, reclaim your center, and finally take your power back, without a war, without drama. You don't have to fight them, you just have to stop feeding them your energy. If you're ready to break free from emotional manipulation and rediscover your authentic strength, you're in the right place. Let's begin. What if I told you, the most powerful move against a narcissist is no move at all? No yelling, no explaining, no begging to be understood, just silence. You see, narcissists don't crave love, they crave attention. To them, attention is oxygen, and it doesn't matter if it's love, hate, praise, or anger. As long as they occupy your mind, they feel powerful, they feel real. But what happens when you stop feeding them, when you don't react, when you don't flinch, when you simply walk away, without a word, without a glance? You don't just hurt their feelings, you shatter their illusion of control. Because here's the truth, the one thing a narcissist cannot stand is indifference, and that's where Stoic power begins. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's not just a quote, that's your shield. Narcissists try to provoke you, because your emotions are their battlefield. But when you refuse to engage, when you become emotionally untouchable, you win, not with rage, not with revenge, but with silence. Have you ever watched a narcissist lose composure? When their manipulation fails, when their charm doesn't work, when their guilt trips fall flat, that's the sound of power shifting. So here's how you make a narcissist feel truly powerless, not by fighting them, but by starving them. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy, it is sovereignty. Remove them from your space, no texts, no checking their updates, no emotional investment, not even a thought. That's not cruelty, that's clarity. And when they try to bait you with fake apologies or staged happiness, you don't flinch. Because you know their entire performance is just a desperate plea for relevance. Let me give you 9 silent blades that cut deeper than any argument. Detachment, clarity, no emotional reaction, no explanation, no guilt, no contact, no validation, no curiosity, and above all, no fear. These are not acts of cruelty, they are acts of self-respect, because once you master your emotions, once you become still in the face of chaos, the narcissist has no weapon left. This is how the Stoics won their battles, not through war, but through peace, that could not be stolen. So I'll leave you with this: are you strong enough to do nothing? Because sometimes, nothing is everything. What if I told you that the most brutal, most effective way to break a narcissist is by giving them nothing, no reaction, no explanation, no closure, just silence? See, a narcissist doesn't survive on love, they survive on attention. Whether it's praise, rage, admiration, or even hate, as long as you're feeding them emotionally, they feel alive. But the moment you go cold, the moment you cut off that supply, you attack their deepest fear, being irrelevant. Think of it like this: a narcissist is a performer who demands a spotlight, and when you walk out of the audience, they're left standing on stage. Alone, no applause, no critics, no chaos to feed on, just silence. That silence, that's your power. But don't be fooled, they won't disappear quietly. They'll try everything to suck you back in. They'll shift from sweet to cruel. In a heartbeat, you've changed. I miss you. What happened to us? And when that fails, they'll weaponize guilt, shame, even nostalgia. Because here's the dark truth: any reaction keeps them alive. In your world, even your anger says, you still matter. Even your defense says, I still care. But the Stoics taught us something different. Marcus Aurelius once said, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. You don't win by yelling louder, you win by going silent. You win by becoming emotionally unavailable, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. So block them, stop checking their updates, don't stalk their stories, don't ask mutual friends for just one update. Cut the psychic cord. No contact, no curiosity, no crumbs, because the second they realize they no longer live in your mind, that's when the real collapse begins. They might post selfies to make you jealous, pretend they're thriving without you, but behind the smile is panic, because your silence says more than words ever could. So ask yourself, are you ready to take your power back? By doing absolutely nothing, let them scream into the void. Let their illusions fall apart while you walk away, calm, clear, unshaken. That's how Stoics win. That's how you starve the narcissist and reclaim yourself. And we're just getting started. The next weapon: emotional detachment. Stay tuned. What if I told you that the most terrifying thing you could ever say to a narcissist is a calm, unwavering no to them? A boundary isn't just a rule, it's a rejection, reminder that their power has limits, and for someone addicted to control, that's unbearable. Narcissists thrive in spaces where people hesitate to protect themselves, where emotional guilt outweighs self-respect. That's why the moment you set a clear, non-negotiable boundary, they feel it like a slap to their ego. But here's the truth they'll never admit: they don't fear the boundary itself, they fear that you'll actually enforce it, because once you do, their favorite weapon, manipulation, becomes useless. Think of your boundary as a fortress, solid, impenetrable. The narcissist is like a skilled intruder, testing every door, every window, every possible weakness. If you hesitate, explain, or bend even once, they'll find their way back in. Say you won't answer texts past 9 p.m., they'll message at 9:01, then 9:10, then 9:30, just checking if you're okay. Say you won't tolerate disrespect, they'll push right to the edge of insult, just to see if you flinch, because to them, every broken boundary is confirmation, you're still under my control. This is where Stoic wisdom becomes your armor. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." A Stoic doesn't explain their standards. To those who seek to erode them, you don't owe the narcissist a justification. No is a complete sentence. When they try to gaslight you, guilt trip you, or play the victim, remain unmoved. You are not cruel. You are not heartless. You are protecting your peace, and that is your right. But prepare yourself. They won't give up quietly. When their usual tricks stop working, they may retaliate. They'll twist the story, turn friends against you, label you as cold or selfish. They'll say, "You've changed. You used to care. I guess I never really mattered." It's a performance, carefully scripted, to pull you back into their chaos. But here's the test: will you bend, or will you hold the line? Because the strength of your boundary doesn't just reveal their character, it reveals yours. And when the narcissist realizes that your limits are real, that your peace is no longer up for negotiation, they begin to lose their grip. But boundaries are only part of the equation. To truly break free, you must go deeper, to a place where even their words can't reach you. In the next strategy, we'll explore the art of emotional detachment, how to stop reacting, how to stop caring, and how to reclaim the inner stillness they can never touch. Are you ready? Let's keep going. What if I told you, the most powerful way to defeat a narcissist is not to fight them, not to argue, not even to explain yourself, but simply to remain still, calm, unmoved. Hey everyone, and welcome back. In our journey through the complex battlefield of human relationships, especially the ones poisoned by narcissistic personalities, we've explored survival tactics. But today, we uncover something deeper, something counterintuitive, something powerful. The art of stoic calm, the courage of unwavering fearlessness. Narcissists don't just crave attention, they crave your emotional chaos. They want to see you react, squirm, chase after their validation. Why? Because your fear gives them power. Your anxiety feeds their illusion of control. But what happens when you take that power back? What happens when you stop being afraid? Picture this: you're in a conversation. A narcissist throws a subtle insult, a lie, maybe even a public jab, meant to shame you. They're watching your face, waiting for it to twitch, for your voice to rise, for your defenses to go up. But you don't flinch, you breathe, you hold eye contact. Not with aggression, but with clarity, and you respond with silence, or a calmly delivered truth, nothing more. That moment, that silence, that's power. Narcissists expect drama. They rely on your emotional reaction to twist the narrative. But when your calm becomes impenetrable, they panic, because now, they're the one who feels out of control. Don't get me wrong, this isn't passivity, it's discipline. It takes immense inner strength to stay still when someone's actively trying to trigger you. They'll escalate, they'll twist your words, bring up your past, maybe even smear your name. But here's the stoic truth: choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Marcus Aurelius, you're not ignoring the storm, you are choosing not to become it. Think of a narcissist like a playground bully. They puff up their chest, yell the loudest, threaten the hardest, but only because they're afraid you'll stop giving them attention. But the moment their target stops reacting with fear, they lose their script, they lose control, so they may shift, becoming the victim, crying innocence, painting you as cruel. But if you remain consistent, if you stand firm, in calm and clarity, their manipulations start to look like what they truly are: desperate. Here's what they don't want you to realize: your value is not granted by them. Your worth is not negotiable, and their approval, completely irrelevant. You don't need to fight them to win, you just need to stop feeding them. And when you do, That's when their illusion starts to collapse. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember, you don't owe anyone your reaction. You don't owe anyone your peace. Let your silence speak louder than their chaos. Let your stillness be your rebellion. Let your calm be the boundary they cannot cross. Stay strong, stay still, stay sovereign, and in the next video, we'll explore the one emotional weapon narcissists fear more than anything else: indifference. See you there. What if the most powerful response is silence? Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into one of the most underrated, but most powerful strategies for protecting your peace in the face of narcissistic manipulation: the art of not explaining yourself. Now pause and think about this. How often have you felt the need to justify your choices, to explain your boundaries, your decisions, even your silence, to someone who never really listened to understand? Only to judge. Narcissists are masters of this game. They don't just want answers, they want control, and every time you explain, you unknowingly hand them the reins. Let me paint the picture. You decide to cut someone toxic out of your life. They reach out, not with an apology, but with a sweet-sounding hook. I just want closure. Can you help me understand what I did wrong? But here's the twist: they don't actually want closure. They want re-entry. They want an opening, a dialogue, so they can twist your words, guilt you, make you doubt your truth, and regain control of the narrative. That's why explaining yourself to a manipulator is like pouring gasoline on a fire. They'll pick apart your logic, challenge your emotions, distort your intentions, until you're drained, confused, and questioning your own sanity. So here's the truth: you don't owe anyone a PowerPoint presentation for how you live your life. Your values, your decisions, your peace, they are not up for debate. As the Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius said, don't waste any more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. You don't need to prove your goodness to someone who weaponizes your empathy. And your no, it's a complete sentence. Your silence, sometimes, it's the loudest boundary you'll ever set. When a narcissist realizes they can't bait you into over-explaining, defending, or begging for validation, they lose traction. They may try to provoke you, play the victim, pretend to care, even escalate. But when you don't flinch, don't justify, don't engage, you become unplayable, untouchable. So next time you feel that rising pressure, that familiar urge to explain your silence, your choices, your exit, pause, breathe, and remember, your peace is more important than their approval. Let them be confused, let them wonder. Let your silence speak the boundary they refuse to hear. You don't owe clarity to someone who only listens to manipulate. They can't control what they can't access. Choose silence, choose self-respect. You don't need to argue, you don't need to prove, just succeed in silence. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we arrive at the final, and perhaps most powerful, strategy in this series. On dealing with narcissistic personalities, we're talking about the quiet power of silent success. Let me ask you something. What do narcissists fear the most? Not confrontation, not anger, but this: seeing you rise. Without them, these individuals build their identity on control, on the illusion that your value, your growth, your happiness, somehow depends on them. But when you thrive, without their input, without their praise, without their validation, it shatters the narrative they've constructed. They will try to dismiss it. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. They just got lucky. Or the classic, they wouldn't be there if it wasn't for me. But here's the Stoic truth. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Marcus Aurelius: don't retaliate, don't explain, don't even announce, just build, quietly, consistently, relentlessly. Think of it like this: A narcissist wants to be the sun in your universe, the thing everything revolves around. But the moment you begin to orbit something greater, your purpose, your mission, your truth, they become irrelevant, and nothing scares them more than being irrelevant. You may find that your progress makes them uncomfortable. They might try to discredit you, gaslight you, even try to claim your success. But remember, your silence is stronger than their noise. Let your actions do the talking. Let your peace be your power. Let your joy, quiet, real, unshaken, be the loudest signal of your freedom. And when they look back, searching for the version of you they once controlled, let them find no access. As Seneca reminds us, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Don't waste your light trying to shine for someone committed to keeping you small. You don't need their applause. You don't need their permission. You only need your clarity, your peace, and your quiet fire that refuses to burn out. Stay strong, stay silent, and stay rising. In the next series, we'll explore how to protect your peace permanently with boundaries so strong even the most manipulative mind can't breach them. What if the most powerful response was no reaction at all? Welcome back, friends. Today, we're diving into one of the most disarming techniques you can use against narcissistic manipulation: responding with empathy. But without engagement. You see, narcissists operate on a simple but effective principle: control the emotion, control the person. They bait you with subtle jabs, exaggerated reactions, even guilt, and they expect one of two responses: you fight back, or you submit. Both give them power, but here's the twist: what if you offered neither? Instead, you meet their storm with calm, clinical empathy. You see their pain, you might even understand the insecurity beneath their behavior, but you don't step onto their emotional battlefield. As Seneca once said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. For the narcissist, this couldn't be more true. Their exaggerated sense of control often masks a deep-rooted fear of losing relevance. When you respond with detached empathy, it's not about excusing their actions, it's about refusing to absorb them. You can say, "I see you're hurting." Then, walk away, not in cruelty, but in clarity. You are not responsible for their healing, you are responsible for your boundaries. Now imagine they try to bait you again. They bring up old wounds, twist your words, seek drama, and you breathe, you observe, you say little, and you walk away. This is not weakness, this is discipline, this is emotional sovereignty. You don't win by fighting, you win by not playing their game. Empathy, with distance, compassion, with boundaries, that's where your power lives. So protect your energy, respond without reacting, and take back your peace. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll break down the 5 silent tactics narcissists use to regain control, and how to block them before they begin. They never thought you'd actually walk away. That's their fatal mistake. Welcome back, everyone. In this final installment of our journey through narcissistic dynamics, we arrive at the most difficult, but the most powerful step of all: leaving for good, and never looking back. You see, narcissists are skilled manipulators. They thrive on control, on keeping you hooked in a cycle of hope and despair. They assume, deep down, that you'll never really leave, because they've trained you to doubt your strength. But here's what they never expect: that one day, you'll wake up and see the pattern for what it is. That one day, you'll say, "Enough." And when you do, they panic. They promise to change. They mirror back everything you ever wanted. "I've changed. I get it now. Give me one more chance." But it's not change, it's strategy. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Apply this to their words, strip away the performance. What's left? More of the same, more emotional chaos, more false promises, more pain. Leaving doesn't require a speech, it doesn't need closure, it doesn't need their understanding, because closure doesn't come from them, it comes from you. Leave without the long explanations, without the final argument, without the breakdown, just go, and don't look back. This isn't revenge, this is rebirth, this is reclamation. You're not running from them, you're running towards yourself. So take that final step, don't waver, don't explain, don't wait. Your peace is not behind them, it's on the other side of goodbye. What if everything you believed about your worth was never really yours to begin with? What if it was planted by someone who needed you to doubt yourself, so they could control you? Welcome back, everyone, to the final chapter in our series on breaking free from narcissistic dynamics. Today, we're not just talking about escaping manipulation, we're talking about rebuilding from the inside out, because a narcissist doesn't just try to control your actions, they try to rewrite your entire value system. They chip away at your confidence, they mock your dreams. They plant doubts like, you're too much. You'll never make it without me. No one else would put up with you. And slowly, you start believing them. But here's the truth, your worth is not a reflection of their opinion, it is intrinsic, it is unshakable, it was never theirs to define, and the most powerful act of liberation is to reclaim your personal value system, redefine success, redefine love, redefine what it means to be enough. Not by their standards, but by yours. Nothing is precious, except what lies within our own power. Epictetus, and what lies within your power, your integrity, your boundaries, your self-respect, your truth. When your compass points inward, not to their praise, not to their criticism, not even to their silence, they lose control, their tactics no longer work. Their insults no longer sting, because now, you are the one defining your worth. Think of it like this, every time you believed them, a brick was laid in a wall they built around you. Now, with every decision based on your own values, you remove those bricks, one by one, until one day, you're standing in sunlight again, unafraid, unapologetic, untouchable. They once made you feel small, now, build a life so rooted in truth that no one can ever shrink you again. This isn't about revenge, this is about returning home to yourself. So, reclaim your values, reclaim your voice, and never again let anyone convince you that your worth is negotiable. What if the person who shattered you wasn't the end of your story, but the beginning of your awakening? Welcome back, everyone. Today, in this final and most transformative step of our journey through narcissistic dynamics, we're uncovering a powerful mental shift, reclaiming your narrative by reversing the lens, seeing them not as a failure, but as a lesson. A narcissist often wants to be the shadow that lingers long after they're gone. They want you to carry their voice in your mind, the voice that whispered doubt, belittled your worth, and convinced you that you'll never be enough without them. But here's the truth, you were never broken, you were being refined when you shift your mindset. From I was destroyed by them, to I was taught by the experience, you sever their last form of control, the narrative they left behind in your head. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius, every obstacle is an opportunity to improve our wisdom. Even this, the betrayal, the emotional chaos, the erosion of your self-esteem, can be reframed, not excused, not justified, but transformed into wisdom. Think of it like fire, it can burn you, or it can forge you. Many who've endured narcissistic abuse say the same thing, I lost myself in that relationship. But what they later discover is that they didn't lose themselves, they lost the illusion of who they had to be to survive, and that was the first step back home. Stoic wisdom reminds us that power lies within. Epictetus once wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You can't control how they treated you, but you can control how you carry it. Let them be the lesson, not the label. Let the pain be the teacher, not the definition. They weren't your ending, they were the storm that revealed the strength of your roots. They were the fire, but you were always the forge. Your life is no longer about what they did, it's about what you choose now, with full awareness, with strength, with self-respect. So breathe deep, close that chapter, and walk forward, not as someone wounded, but as someone woken. You've survived them, now, it's time to outgrow them. Today, we arrive at the most crucial turning point, the moment where everything changes, not because they change, not because they apologize, but because you finally see the truth. You never needed them to begin with. For all their manipulation, guilt-tripping, and control tactics, a narcissist's deepest fear isn't your anger, it's your awakening. It's that quiet realization that their power over you was never real, only borrowed from your willingness to stay. They rely on cycles, idealize, devalue, discard. They play games that leave you questioning your sanity, begging for clarity, hoping for closure. But here's the truth they can't handle: you don't need closure from someone who benefited from your confusion. When you choose to leave, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you deliver the most powerful response of all: indifference. No more chasing, no more proving, no more explaining yourself. To someone committed to misunderstanding you, this isn't an escape, it's a return to your values, your integrity, your peace. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. So upgrade your thoughts, replace shame with self-respect. Swap guilt for clarity, let go of the illusion that their validation defines your worth. You owe them nothing, not your time, not your energy, not one more ounce of your emotional bandwidth. Instead, channel all that energy inward, build a life so grounded, so whole, that their absence doesn't leave a void, it creates space, space for healing, space for truth, space for you. Returning home tone, expect resistance. They'll panic. They'll beg, they'll lash out, they might even pretend to become everything you ever wanted. But remember, that's not change, that's strategy. Don't look back, not because you're cold, but because you're clear. Your silence isn't bitterness. It's wisdom, it's self-protection, it's the final act of power. So now, ask yourself, not out of fear, but with fierce honesty, are you done shrinking to fit someone else's delusion? Are you done apologizing for asking to be treated with respect? Are you ready to reclaim the narrative and write the rest of your story without them in it? Because leaving isn't the end, it's the beginning of you. Walk away, not with rage, not with regret, but with peace, purpose, and power, and never look back.